All right, guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to the Breaking Point podcast. We are here with episode number 49, nearly there at 50. And we actually, would you believe, have potentially some positive stuff to talk about this week. The Kickoff Classic begins in just a couple of days' time. When you guys are watching this on YouTube, probably tomorrow from when you guys are watching it. And those joining us live on Twitch is still 2 days' time out. So make sure you don't miss us when we go live this time next week, breaking it all down. But yes, exciting to have Call of Duty finally back on the menu. EasyMac, Lionman, they're here with us today once again. Beautiful stuff. Austin, how are you doing? Nice new camera going on there as well. It's looking spotless.
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Just, finally got everything up and running, so I can finally use this new handy dandy Elgato webcam. So I'm actually excited to get on with this weekend. I'm really excited to finally watch some competitive COD.
Same. That's it. I'm just excited for it to be back. It's been what, 5 months since we've watched
Fucking
any.
minute.
5 months. It's crazy since champs. Yeah, I'm just excited to see some good Call of Duty. See how we are set up for the season. I I think this will
Wait,
give us a good tell for where we are for the whole season. If it's enjoyable, I think it'll be good for the whole year.
wait. Let me ask you guys a quick question to kick it off. Does this tournament count as a real victory?
No,
Because, well, all 12 teams are there. There's a prize pool. Even though it's single elim, there has been single elim tournaments in the past. Like, does this count as
I think it's an
who-
interesting question, actually.
we
Personally,
counted
I think it's quite-
homestands.
yeah. Now I'm
We
thinking
counted
about it.
the
To be
crown. You
fair,
remember the
if an
crown
8-team
Melbourne?
homestand counted, and also the Crown Melbourne is the most ridiculous
Do we
Yeah.
have a
tournament that's
Tortino's
ever been
classic?
won.
I've seen
I
a
feel
lot of
like
people say it doesn't. So
I think you
I
kind of
think it
have.
kind of does,
Well,
right?
it counts
okay,
on those
now that
levels. It's like minor major though, right? Like some people would say
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
majors and there's minors. Like that could be a good way to look at it. It's a difficult way to quantify, but like
no,
this doesn't mean as much as a major, but it is still like a land victory at the end of the day.
Will it be another trophy on the Lionman card? That's what I need to know.
oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, now we're going hard this
Yeah.
weekend.
I think
Shit.
if like you count like South Carolina, do you remember South Carolina in 2016 UMG where it was single elim, the controllers didn't work and Bluetooth was, going crazy? I think you
Forgot about
kind of
that.
have to count this one now that you mention it. I at first thought it was nah, but I also used to count Totino's as an event, so this does count. Yeah. Fair
We were
play.
just talking about this with our team actually yesterday. You remember the WGN, the Toronto event where every team had mixed teams? Players count
Yeah.
that. And I did
Yeah.
see a lot. I
I
did
don't
see
know how
a
they
lot
count
on
that.
Reddit and Twitter. They were saying this isn't a real event because it's preseason. I was like, well, what just because they call it preseason, they're only calling it that because there's no COD point CDL points. So
Yeah.
if we're counting an event that's 2 weeks after the game launch,
This
CWL
season
Las
counts.
Vegas.
Counts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a question. I didn't know how everyone actually felt about that.
I didn't have a feeling, but now I feel like you're right. It might count.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it either, but it makes me more excited because I think this weekend could be, if it's anything like kind of what the Stage 5 major was, and we finally got fans back in the venue and people getting really hyped. I think this could be something like that, right? Like, there's going to be fans there. It's going to be a great venue. We know the venue's good. The last couple of tournaments that were there were really good. Stage 4, Stage 5. There's going to be a crowd. The matchups are going to be great. I'm sure we're going to get some great matchups, really unpredictable stuff. So I think it should be a great way to kick things off, really. Obviously, not the perfect format for a proper tourney, but at the end of the day, you could look back at even Stage 1, Stage 2 playoffs in Black Ops 3, where it was a single elim tourney. I mean, yes, it was best of sevens, but it was single elim, and, that was obviously a big tourney. So, I think we'll have to see how it goes, but let's dive into the first topic, which is probably I couldn't believe this is true when I saw it yesterday, frankly, and I thought someone was just having a laugh on the timeline. But it turns out it is true that I didn't even know this would be a thing that would happen. But yeah, Microsoft have basically bought Activision Blizzard, which is quite remarkable. Now they're paying $68.7 billion for it, which is obviously quite substantial. It's kind of an interesting. We don't have to talk about the pricing economics of whether that's a good or a bad deal that they're getting there, and whether this even goes through in the first place, because it's going to take over 12 months to get everything sorted out on this front. So, the implications of this could be incredible. I think that a lot of people are looking at this as kind of potentially an exciting thing for the future of Call of Duty, just because I think a lot of people, myself included, struggle to see the light at the end of the tunnel of the way that Activision have kind of treated the franchise the last few years. It's just rinse and repeat games. Every year the game gets worse. The developers don't get the time and the resources they need to create a good Call of Duty, and it's just milk it for as much money as we possibly can and do the same with the CDL. That seems to be the philosophy that they're running on the last few years. So maybe at some point Microsoft come in, and yes, this might be a couple of years away. We don't know if the positive impacts are actually going to arrive, but we know what they've kind of done with Halo. And they might come in and have a different philosophy on what they do with Call of Duty, right? They might say, hey, okay, look, competitive does need to be more of a focus for the longevity of the game. And I just think people are looking at this from potentially positive perspective. The other side of it, before I throw it over to you, Austin, is like, look, at the end of the day, Microsoft, when they were making this acquisition, probably didn't give a second thought about the CDL and the Overwatch League. They were probably mainly thinking about the enormous amount of money that Activision are making in mobile and the potential that that has for this metaverse thing that all these big companies are trying to push. So I'm sure the mobile revenue was a big one for them. Like I'm sure Call of Duty as a franchise was a big one for them, in fairness. But still, I'm not sure the esports front is top of their agenda. It might be a long time before we actually see any implications of this. And Activision is still running the show until this gets finalized by June 2023, apparently.
Yeah, so I think this is a good deal because first off, you're like buying low. Like I think this is probably the lowest Activision. I mean, it can always get lower, but this is the lowest they've been for like a minute. I feel like since like COD 4, they've been going up pretty steadily since then. So like this is a good deal for them. I know like Microsoft, we kind of just put it in the chat, but they bought out Bethesda, and they've been trying to acquire more and more because basically like right now it's like Tencent and Sony they're still higher than them in the so I was talking about this with some friends. They're still higher than them on like the gaming revenue side. So Microsoft will still be third. But this is a big step towards actually beating them out because it's kind of like an arms race right now between those three. But like the big thing I think they got out of that was King, which is like the mobile, which is like something they're really looking to push. So like this is like Activision and Blizzard are like kind of like secondary to that right now. It by the sounds of it, from what I've seen like heard, and I am excited because I think the leadership has been like the same for Call of Duty for a while now. Like obviously like studio devs like come and go, but it feels like Call of Duty got pretty stagnant and it feels like they weren't competing with anybody. It feels like they were just okay with where they were at and like they aren't competing with anybody. And I think like the changeover with Microsoft will bring like sweeping changes and at least on the leadership side. And then I think with that becomes like a refreshed mentality. Like you get hungrier to go back to work to like prove something. So like I think competitive is obviously not going to be that is bottom of the barrel as it should be in deals like this. But like what should be important is like I think the game will get better. And any competitive game that we've had in the past, it was because of the game. Like the whole foundation of that was because the game was good. Think back to your favorite year, and like the game was good and pubs was good, which is like two of the most important things you can have. And a lot of people say like it should be competitive focused, but like every single great esport year we had in Call of Duty, pubs were also phenomenal. So like if they build a good game, then that brings in more people playing, that brings in more revenue for the league, and it will be better to watch. So I'm all for Microsoft coming in, making some changes at Activision. Obviously they have done some stuff that stuff needs to change. So I'm just happy. The Microsoft team, the Xbox team. Was it Phil Spector? Spencer?
Phil Spencer, I think his name is.
Phil Spencer. I actually like him. So like I'm very happy with it. I think there's a very good future. I don't think anyone knows what will come of it yet, and like anyone saying they do is like just guessing. But at the end of the day, I do think this is a change for the better, and we will see at least some improvement. And I would say there's going to be improvement this year because they're going to be trying to do as good as they can before Microsoft even steps in. So I expect a lot of improvement in the next 1 to 5 years.
Yeah. I've been seeing people tweet like this could be the death or this could be great for Call of Duty. And that is also someone saying completely nothing at the same time. But I wanted to talk about like how sick is it going to be when Microsoft puts all the Call of Duties on like Game Pass, and you
Mm.
can just play them like it's Netflix, like flick between them and stuff. Because like that's how it is with Halo already, and maybe getting like World of Warcraft somehow implemented as well, and like Candy Crush. Whoa, dude, that's an acquisition right there, Candy Crush.
They're going to be
But
making
I
money.
also, sorry,
They're already making loads of money. Like that. That's a good
yeah.
revenue stream for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then I can't wait to see like cross-pollination between, I don't know if this will happen, but between Halo and COD, where you can like move cosmetics from like Halo, get like a Master Chief skin in COD. Dude, I think that'd be pretty cool. And maybe somewhere down the line, if both the franchises, you know, come
You know?
together, like Batman versus Superman, but like Halo versus COD. Hmm.
I mean, that's the thing that Adam Apicella was saying there. Like, what if they could do an event? They could do an MLG Pro Circuit event where you've got Halo LAN, COD LAN, StarCraft LAN, whatever LAN, Gears or whatever, all under the same venue, being conducted in the same building with all the fans there. Like that just seems like such an awesome environment, which in fairness they used to kind of be back in the day. You'd go to like maybe like some of the Insomnia events and stuff back in early 2010s when there'd be CS:GO, COD, like the other games all going on in the same venue. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. Now Microsoft are going to own MLG because Activision own MLG, so they own an esports engine, do the running for Halo. So there could be some really cool stuff. I think there's really exciting possibilities, but I don't think expect much in the next 12 months.
Wait,
Yeah.
you know what I haven't seen anyone say yet is like with the acquisition of GB and like MLG, um, maybe just maybe they'll shut down a lot of the third-party sites to force people back to GB and kind of like redo that. I don't know, like that seems like an easy way to improve GB and get a lot of people going there, integrate GB back in the games. Like I feel like that could be something that like reignites the S&D scene and is something that would be way better for competitive COD. But I haven't seen that being talked around much, so maybe.
Hmm.
But that would be my wish out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I was going to
yeah.
say was the last event that where like multiple games were with COD was what, the World Finals in 2015. What was the other game that was there at that event? It was COD and then another one. Was it Dota or
Yeah,
maybe
no, I think
Get
there
in
was
the
a
lab?
CS
No.
and
I'm
a
not
COD
sure. I
event at
didn't
one
really
time.
watch them.
Can you search World Finals 2015? Just what other
The other one
games
I
there are?
remember was ESWC 2017 with the Just Dance finals on just before. That's my
Ooh, I
that's
remember that.
that's my favorite cross pollination of esports games.
That was huge, dude.
Yeah, that was huge. It got delayed because this guy was absolutely going off on the main
He
stage.
was just cutting shapes, bro, and the whole
He
crowd was
was, yeah, yeah.
rooting for him.
They were bumping, man. Like the whole French crowd was there for COD, and then this guy. Nah, maybe they were
Yeah,
all there for Just Dance. They stayed for the COD. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, agreed. I guess if you try and find the Austin, but if not, it's all good. The other kind of thing that I was wondering on this is just whether just my perspective, it seems to be that the way Activision run things, as I just said, like trying to get as much cash as is feasibly possible. And in fairness, they might even do that more so over the next, several months. So things look good on the books for this whole transition. But maybe Microsoft come in and they, especially given their focus on mobile here, like my expectation is, and I think you alluded to it, Austin, that the King part of Activision Blizzard King is a major one for them, like the whole mobile, the insane revenue they're doing over there, and probably by revenue, maybe by game sales, like Vanguard is their best performing game this year. But by revenue, it's probably COD Mobile, or maybe Warzone to be fair. But I reckon mobile's right up there in terms of revenue. Could be the most successful Call of Duty they currently operate. So I do wonder whether they think at some point, like, hey, a new fresh set of eyes comes in and looks at the Call of Duty franchise as it is and the direction it's trending and say, okay, hey, like why do we not consider what they're doing on the mobile side and release one game that lasts several years, right? Because I think that's kind of something that we've felt in the COD scene for well, maybe, especially the last 6 months or so, really, especially since Vanguard's been out, they're like, maybe that's the way forward at some point, is to have a title that spans a couple of years and can actually be produced on a better scale than is being achieved currently. So, yeah, I wonder what you think about that. Like, obviously, we always talk about would that be a good or a bad thing, but it might be something that's feasible now that a new pair of eyes come in. Because I'm not sure Activision would ever want to risk giving up all the revenue they get year on year from the game releases. Maybe a new, fresh set of eyes might think otherwise, Austin, and think more long term.
So I don't think they'll give up that revenue, but hopefully they have a base game and then they drop DLCs like yearly. So you have like new maps, new campaign, new game modes. So it's still the same like base COD. I don't know. I don't think they'll ditch that because it is a pretty good moneymaker, but I do hope they rework how they do things because like currently, like I do think having a yearly release can be a good thing because it like reinvigorates the fans' passion for the game on that, especially in the opening couple of months, where it can die down if you stagnate and stay the same. So like I like that about Call of Duty, but I also see the negatives where if the game comes out and it's just bad, you're stuck with it. So like hopefully they find a middle ground that works like business wise, so we can get some stability out of Call of Duty that just works for us because obviously they're going to do whatever's best for them, but hopefully something that works for competitive is just in the back of their mind. At least they're thinking about it.
Yeah, I wonder if we're like talking like this, and then in 2 years' time, COD just doesn't exist.
Just shut it down.
COD League's just gone. It's like, oh, well, this was still the heyday, dude. That'd be so disappointing.
Maybe today is the best. The best.
Yeah,
is
it's
yet to come.
like this season's actually the last good season of COD. I've been thinking that for the last like 2 years, the last 3 years, like during Black Ops 4, during the year, everyone was saying, oh, this is so average. But I was just living in the moment, boys. I was so happy. Like there was actually a good title. The league was well structured,
I
good
liked Black
events,
Ops 4 a
good
lot.
teams. Same. And do you remember how like this is what I miss most about the league currently in a state? Is that a team at the start of the year could just come out of nowhere, like pushed themselves into a position where they've like solidified themselves in the league like every year. So like 2017 it was E United, 2018 it was TK. Oh, yeah, 2018, 2019 it was Midnight Esports. Like there was this one group of players that would just, make it to the top. And that's why I liked CWL so much. But yeah, we're getting into a sad note because as again, we're reminiscing on times past.
It's like this is probably the worst that the league setup has been and like the amateur setup, and it's still okay. It's still like a couple of changes. Like right now, like they can make it so the winners of Elite go into the pool play, and this year would be lit. You know what I mean? So like there's like one or two small changes they can make, and it would just reinvent. Like the whole league would just be reinvented, and it would be so much better. So like every time I get down on on the league, I just remember that honestly, there's like a couple of changes that you can make, and it would just blow up. And it angers me that those changes aren't made, but like at the same time, at least there's a base. Like this is at its worst, and there's still like a decent base. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Mm.
Who knows, indeed.
Mm.
I one more hydration, but we got. I mean, just talking quickly while we're on the whole negative thing, we got to talk about the whole Maven and Merk drama, really, over the last couple of days because I don't know what's going on here, and apparently there's more to this than meets the eye, as in like Maven and Merk's tweets don't necessarily give all the information as to the reasoning behind the scenes from the league side. But anyway, Maven and Merk traditionally it's a very common thing that every single year they're the premier casters. They command the highest amount of money. The CDL doesn't want to pay it. There's some negotiation. There's some horrible tactics going on, and often they might miss the first event. Like last year, they missed the Kickoff Classic because contract was still being finalised. This year, it seems no contract offers have even been made by the CDL to Maven and Merk. Like, well, of course, you'd imagine that wouldn't be the case if they did want to bring them back. So what does this mean? I don't know. Now, Maven came out and said that he was saying how last couple of seasons they had the most budget and stuff for the staffing and the production that they've ever had, but he reckons they took a lot of steps backwards. He was fighting some of the changes and issues internally, and reckons that might have cost him in a way that they just think this guy is like he's too much effort for what he's worth. Like he's kept trying to mean, I don't know if you. I don't know, like a guy like Merk sometimes on stream, if a spawn is dodgy, he'll kind of laugh and talk about it. But I always like that about this stuff, right? And I just don't understand. I really don't understand this one because these two guys, they've been around the scene for so many years. So if there's people who are staples of competitive Call of Duty, it's these two guys. I mean, the Mavens was even doing stuff back in Black Ops 2, and of course, Merk has been around since Black Ops 1 and even before that as a player. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess before there's some more things we could say on this, but Lion, like, what's your initial thoughts? I don't understand this. I don't even understand how they're possibly going to explain this one.
Yeah, someone tweeted something horrendous yesterday about this, but it was just a speculation. I need to find it. Pretty sure they said, hold on. Yeah, they said, and I quote, they are self-sabotaging so they can move towards a Warzone league quicker. And that made me feel so sad. Because imagine if
I
that's the
doubt
case.
it, though.
I know. But it's like they're doing everything they can to make sure there's no fans.
It's funny
And
that,
then
that's like the only logical reasoning that you can find.
there's no
Exactly, right?
other
That actually makes more sense than like
anything else. So,
anything else I've heard.
yeah. And so I don't know. I think they're the out of any esport I've watched, those two are my favorite casters. One, because I've gotten like so familiar with the way they cast, but also their energy, everything about them. They provide such good context towards the game. Um, the color commentary from Maven, unmatched, and then the analytical, but also still charismatic Merk. If we lose both of them, or if they don't get the bag somehow from the league, it's chalked. It's all over.
Yeah.
What do you think, Austin?
I don't like you've only heard from like Merk and Maven. Obviously, you hear that one side, you don't hear the
Yeah.
league side, and you're not gonna hear the league side because they just don't. I don't know, but like it must like in my head like it must just be something with like budgets. They probably don't want to spend as much money, um, which it sucks because I think those guys are worth every cent. I think those guys are amazing. I think those two, and then like Miles and
Sounds.
Chance are just like world class casters. And I think Lando and Study got a lot better by the end of the year. Like I think obviously those guys know they had stuff to improve upon, and I'll give them credit. Like those two guys actually care a lot about the game and learning the game and getting better at their what they're doing. So like
Yeah.
I do think though it's really tough because like we have a ton of casters in the amateur side that are actually really really good that just need more experience on a bigger scale. And then you guys have like I hold Shift as well who has that
Yeah.
experience definitely in other
Yeah.
esports as well. But so like it's kind of tough when you only have three casting duos. You don't really get much changeover. So like I try to see the positives and things, and one positive is like you know, everyone saw like Tun and Alley Cat got signed. Obviously, Alley Cat said like she's openly said like she got signed as a caster. She didn't say a host. She didn't say an analyst. She said she got signed as a caster. And so if it's those
Wait, the
two,
CDL.
yeah, like that's what
Did
she
you
said.
just not see that line?
And
Wait,
Yeah,
her
it was.
really?
Yeah, she said that 100%. 100% she's a
she
caster
didn't say
eventually.
host. She said caster.
I
So
think so.
like yeah, at least I think so.
I
But
think it's
like
Tan and Ali. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know. That's my guess.
and I haven't seen a lot of Alley cast, but like, I've seen a lot of Ton cast. Like that, he's my guy. I like him a lot as a caster. I like having like different. Like I don't want the same cookie cutter casters. Like I like how he has his own style. I like that. I'm sure she'll have that too. So like what sucks is like they're stepping into now in fans' eyes. They are stepping into the shoes of Maven and Merk, which is impossible. No matter what you do, people are gonna give you shit, and I think that sucks. That definitely sucks. Um, I don't think they'll get their fair shake that they deserve. I hope they do. I hope people are actually like compassionate towards them and like I don't know. Like that's just my thought. But like at the same time, I think we should have more than three casting duos. I do hope we get Merk and Maven, and they're like our 1A, and then we get Chance Miles, they're our 1B, and those are the guys that cast the tourneys. And then on like for like league matches, we give chances to amateur casters that can get that experience. There's a lot of guys like Spaceman, Jesus Christ,
Infinity
Cornmeal.
from. from
Infinity.
Europe. Yeah.
Obviously, Shift. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's
Um,
amazing.
Doesn't need saying.
like I could go through the casters. Like there is just a
Rab?
million guys. Yeah, right. Get
Mm.
Rab up there. Even
Rab.
even
Uh,
Bricey. Like I
yeah,
I
Pricey for
used to
sure.
love Bricey and ton. So like getting those guys experience is also really important to the scene because like getting good casters and having that pipeline is very important to not staying stale on the broadcast side. But like going back to the main point, like that Merk and Maven were saying is that they were kind of like fighting the battles internally. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I felt bad because like I was super. There was parts of the broadcast that I was super disappointed in. I think all of you guys can like agree with me. Like there was just a lot of stuff on the production side where it's just like, come on, man. Like the keys to victory. There was just a lot of stuff. And every time I made a comment about the broadcast, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. I'm not trying to like diss anyone that's doing their job. Like obviously Nameless makes those, but Nameless was that's what he couldn't get creative with it because that was just what they wanted with those. But
Mm.
like I'm just trying to push for a better product at the end of the day as well as everyone else. But like Merk and Maven would always just message me and be like, that's a great idea, or like they would give me advice about what they're trying to do, what they're trying to change. So like whatever we're saying, like obviously everyone's pushing towards the same goal, which is to get better, make the broadcast as great as it is, and just keep improving, which is something where like I hope every single day, like that's what the CDL is trying to do is like try to improve. So like I really hope we don't lose those two guys because those guys are just so important to keeping Call of Duty where it's at and getting better because they're just
Yeah.
such a staple to the scene.
I think it's lucky that we have Miles and Chance because I think they're like a perfect backup as well for Maven and Merk. But not having like that depth within the casting would be a big loss for the league. It'd be really sad, honestly.
That's the big
Exactly.
frustration to me. Like the one thing I love, well, not the one thing, but the one thing I've always really loved about Counter Strike is that the strength and depth of the casting talent is just phenomenal. Like depending on
Crazy.
what tournament organizer you have, you've got either your Semler and Anders, or you got Moses in there, of course Henry and
DDK,
Sado, DDK, and of course
Bardolph,
he's in Valorant right now, but DDK and Bardolph, and then you've got kind of like Harry and Hugo, whatever it is, and
OD.
Launders and the other guy's name. Like there's such Scrawny, that's it. Like
Is
there's
Machine still around?
yeah, Machine of course casting as well. I think he's
He's
still
like hosting and
casting.
casting with
Yeah.
Moses. He does it with Moses.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And then some of the guys have gone to Valorant, like Pansy and DDK now doing Valorant stuff. Like the way that kind of scene, the talent was developed there. I think it's actually a really interesting idea that maybe okay, some of the matches or most of the matches for the online qualifiers are done by the main casting duos. Theoretically, it should be Maven, Merk, Miles, and Chance, and then the other ones are done by kind of like whoever up and coming casters they just put on a series and see how it goes. Like I think that would be a really cool idea because I agree. It's not just about keeping the pro scene up and running. It's about challenges as well, which is in a state. But the casting pipeline is not really something that is much considered, but it's a big one. And it's just interesting which people they seem to give a chance to, and I don't really. I don't know. Miles and Chance are still there. To me, they were the best last year. From my perspective, they get better every single year. I love Maven and Merk, absolutely. I think at a venue, they're fantastic. And I agree with you, Austin, that there's maybe a couple of times I've tweeted something out about maybe the way something's run, the way the format's done, and Maven's reached out and said, like, hey, that's interesting. Like, how would that be done? Or just trying to contemplate how we can improve the product, right?
yeah.
And apparently that's managed to backfire or something.
Imagine if
Hopefully
that's the
not.
case. If they
Hopefully
got
not.
pushed away because they wanted too much influence or like trying to help the league too much.
I mean, it's just remarkable. Like, the thing is, the community backlash on this is already immense. And if it
Mm.
continues, like, the community backlash was big against the whole 8-team major thing, and they changed it, right? So, I don't know. The thing is, Maven and Merk, like, especially Maven, like, he really wants to. He said outright that he wants to do this for as long as he possibly can, like cast Call of Duty. So, if it is a pricing thing, I'm sure that even if they have to take a pay cut or whatever, I'm sure they'd still do it.
That's what I'm hoping it
Merck
is.
might be in a different boat because
Yeah.
his stream is massive. Um,
I'm hoping
but
it's that because that's fixable. If it's something
exactly,
else like
yeah.
political, like that's a whole other can of worms. So I hope it is like a financial thing, like that. I hope it is because that's easier to fix than something political, something that's deeper than that. I really want those guys back. I want everyone.
Yeah.
CDL needs more personalities, not less. You need like
Yeah.
CDL should have such a deep talent pool. Like every just how like the league right now has the NFL Network for NFL. Like there should be every player that has a personality that retires. Like everyone says, oh, they should go to Optic. No, it should be like I want to get to a point where it's like, oh, they should work for
Yeah.
the league. Like they should be having their own show. They should be doing their own podcast. They should be doing analyst desks. They should be doing like shows for the league. Like that's what I care about. Like that's what I want. So like I don't care if we have 50 casters because that you know what that means? That's 50 different people that can make content for the league. Like we should be not limiting the number of people we have working for the league. We should be, we need as many personalities packed in there as possible to make the league as good as it can be.
Mm.
They did a great job with that, like last year as well. Like Maven and Merk won a lot of content pieces. Obviously, not all of them hit the mark, but you had TP who had that show. I don't know if whatever it was called, the Barracks or something. I don't know what it was called,
Really
but
good. Yeah, that was
they
that.
yeah, talked through with pros for like 20 minutes or something on some questions and did a couple of things. Like that was really good. They did, I don't know how many episodes of that they did, but then it just got short. I don't know if they didn't want TB because his stream was doing too well. So they like, I don't know, he wanted to charge a certain amount of money because for his hourly rate or whatever. Like, I don't know. You can
Like
work out these issues, right?
even like I forgot him at the time. I'm sorry, but Visions made like these.
Average is
I
a
think
good one.
there's like 3 videos. I think there might be more. I might have just missed them. He
Breakdowns.
made these videos breakdowns for Toronto Ultra. World class. Loved them. Everything about it was amazing. We tried doing that. I believe like round 11 did that with us for like behind. We called it behind the scope.
Mhm.
Like those should be a commonplace for the CDL to make. And like even though like people were kind of like laughing at them, but like Nameless's S&D breakdowns were really good. I always liked that. There should be there should be yeah, dabs. There you go, Omar. But like
Round 11 stats.
but like that stuff like we should be getting like a lot of like creativity on the league side with shows because even though they might not think so, like that's an easy way for casuals to learn the game, get into the league, and become a fan. Like it's an escalator. You got to walk them up the escalator. You can't just expect a person to watch a game and just be a diehard fan. You got to get them in and teach them, have them learn about it, have them get excited about it, and like that's something where like the league right now, at least when I last saw their YouTube channel, it didn't look good. Like our YouTube channel looks 100 times better. Like obviously,
It's actually
like
quite funny.
that shouldn't be the case. That should never be the case. That's what irritates me about the league. I know they have great people. Like show them off. Like I would love to just watch Nameless just go over the maps right now. Just talk about the maps. Just do like one of those flybys going across the map. Like this is where the A side is. This is where the B side is. So then when like a new fan goes, oh my God, Berlin Hardpoint. What are rotations? Okay, well here's a video for you to
Yeah.
see what a rotation is. These are what hills are. When we say second rotation, that's what that means. Like, why is that not common?
Why don't we just do that this week for like all the maps that are in rotation? They were just like 1 minute videos for each map, like okay,
Exactly.
we should just actually do that this week. Deadass.
I'm
I mean, we're
down.
already doing everything the CDL should be doing already. Like,
We should do it
so,
all.
so I mean, you know,
And if they have the biggest budget, because Merck or Maven said they have one of the biggest budgets they've ever had, why are we
where
not
does
getting
it go?
creative with it?
Where does it
Where?
go?
Where? Like, obviously, they're not going to tell us where each dollar goes. So, like, what risks did you guys take to improve the content this year? Like, the analyst desk has been the same as it's always been. The casting has been this, like, obviously, the casting talent is amazing, but like the casting, like, there's no creativity that you can obviously do on that side. But the analyst desk is, you have a lot of talent there. Get creative with it. You have a lot of smart people there. You had a lot of people that you could have done so much stuff with this past year, and we got nothing. Like, I watched a CS match and they're doing all this crazy shit on the analyst desk, and I love it. I love every second of it. I don't go off a CS match during the analyst desk. For the CDL match, as soon as it's done, I'm like, okay, I got 45 minutes until the next game starts, which sucks because I actually do want to hear some of those guys speak, but like, give them a chance. Like, that's
Yeah.
my biggest critique about the CDL.
Yeah, I said like remember when Courage was in the league and then he left the league and that's when he became like Courage. I feel like the next person to do that is going to be
Oh
Miles.
man,
He's
I
going to leave
reckon.
the league and he's going to become a superstar because he's one of the wittiest guys ever. Like, but I
They should
feel
be
like he's
giving
getting
him
a
a
little
chance in the
down.
league.
Exactly, and he's not, and that's why he might leave in the future because he will see bigger opportunities.
Even like Chance. Shit, I could watch
Yeah.
Chance just speak about what he thinks about certain stuff for hours.
agree.
That man, like, it's something where his voice is really soothing, and he knows what he's talking about. So I can just stand and just like, yep, just listen to that. Like, I don't
You
know
can
why we
tell
don't have like a casting podcast. Like, why is there not a casting podcast? Why isn't
Yeah.
there more like behind the scenes with the observers? Like, because people wanna work for the league. They want to learn this stuff. So why isn't there more behind the scenes of like a day in the caster's shoes, a day in an observer's shoes, a day in the producer's shoes? Like, I want to learn more about this stuff. I want to be able to, as Antonio Brown says, I want to be able to give these guys their flowers, like give them the props. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of people that work for the league that I just want to learn more about, and like, I'm sure so many other people want to do the same. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Got to get creative with it, man. We can't just stagnate and stay the same every year, man. Drives me crazy. Get creative, take risks. Even if it doesn't pan out, I'm sure fans won't care because they'll see that you're trying.
That's the
Facts.
thing. Every time like a video comes out that the league do, people put it on Reddit. They talk about it. They at least give them props for trying something. Like
Yeah.
I feel like as a community, we don't. We've been kind of pre-conditioned, I guess, to not expect that much. I feel like we don't generally expect the world. We just kind
Yeah.
of like we just hope for some attempt to improve. And I think the analyst desk point you made is especially pertinent, really, because as I agree in Counter Strike, especially when Thorin's on the desk, is just endless entertainment. But the analyst desk, I look forward to more than the games. I love the analyst desk segments. I deliberately
Yeah.
unmute sometimes the matches just to listen to the analyst desk. And in COD, it's completely the other way around because I know they're going to pass to Nameless, who like could be really good, and it's not his fault that he's not. I don't think. I think he's just so shackled.
No, because he's actually
He
really
just
smart and like
yeah, he's really smart. He's really
has
good.
a
He just
great
sits
personality.
there and says that like they outslayed them, and I'm like, oh my god! It was like 5 years ago when we had Revan at a teleprompter saying, "Hey, this guy went here on Fringe, and
Yeah.
that cut off the
They called out
rotation,
here.
and therefore he threw a smoke here, and therefore that person got that kill because this guy turned around, and that's what won them the round." I'm like,
I can tell
damn,
you right
that's
now,
pretty cool.
Nameless can 110% do that. He could do that tomorrow. Like he can. He's really good at
Yeah,
that.
no, absolutely.
And like study is really good at that stuff. Even though he's working on being a better caster and he's actually getting a lot better. He is really good. I like him on the analyst desk, but give him the reins to do something cool. And like Lottie, we have all these great hosts. Like,
She's
but like
gone.
it's just like we get the same analyst desk. We're like, okay, what are your thoughts? And like, it's not the people's fault. It's not because we have great workers. It's just like we need to get creative with the segments and like how we want to use those segments and tell like the basic thing would be to have a play come up or have a player and explain why that player did good, what makes them special on the map, what did they do right. If there's a clutch in an S&D round, what did he do? Why did he do that? Like Nameless as an ex-COD player is the best person to be asking about that. Why did Nameless like go over the Nameless and we can be like, okay, on this round you can see this player did a 1v3. So what he did is he made sure each engagement was a one-on-one so he could take that peak, win it, and then get ready for the next one. That's all fans want to hear. They just want to hear stuff like that, and people will go wild and actually listen to it. And he can do that. Just give him the keys to the car to be able to do stuff like that, and like the CDL will get so much better. Like that's how we retain viewers. Like I feel like I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. The CDL retains a lot of viewers match to match, but that's something where like I want to be able to watch the CDL for like 8 hours and like not be disinterested at any time. Maybe that's
Yeah.
asking too much, but this is something
I
where
will
I feel like we're weak.
continue if you want.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, I just feel like we would have a more educated fan base as a whole if that was the case, and we would have less like weird chatter about KDs. I know I play into it. We both do, Austin. The
Oh,
KD
100%.
thing.
Yeah.
That's what's popular, and so it's like, of course, we talk about it. But if there was a more analytical approach and the fan base was more analytical as well, could be a lot better for the scene. But I don't
Definitely.
think that's prioritized at all.
I don't want to be the WWE of esports. I want to be the UFC of esports. I want to have
Yeah,
all that shit talking. I want to have all of it. And I also want to have the analytical side where they start breaking down different styles. They start breaking down what makes a fighter good, what makes them bad. I don't want this
Yeah.
WWE fake shit that we're propping up storylines just to prop them up, and we're keeping it dumb just to keep it dumb, right? No, make it. I want all of that, but also the UFC has shown that people care about the deeper details as well. Like you can have
Mhm.
both at the same time, and that's what makes the UFC so unique, and that's what we should be copying. Because
Yeah.
we actually have a lot of parallels with the UFC. And if we drift towards that way, oof, I'm gonna be so excited.
Facts.
Great discussion, lads. I think that was good stuff. I think we could draw a line under that one for now because I agree pretty much all fronts. Um, we'll try and talk about something positive. I was going to talk about the sniper GA, but then I thought that could get a little bit dicey. Maybe we'll come back to that. The thing I want to mention first is the schedule got revealed in the last week. So we know what the tournament format's going to look like. Optic just did a video a couple of hours ago announcing their Major 1, tickets are live or whatever. They're leasing out for the next 8 years. I'm pretty sure they have a deal for just under $3 million to lease out the Arlington venue for all future things that they do. They're going to do some really cool stuff there. There's going to be creators there, like fan meetups, signings, merch drops, all this type of good stuff. So that's exciting. Of course, the kickoff is in like 2 days' time as we're recording right now. The qualifiers for Major 1 start on February the 4th. The differences is this week or this year, last year, there used to be 4 match days a week. Thursday, they'd have 2 games. Friday, they'd have 2 games. Saturday, Sunday, 3 games. This year, they're condensing that into just 3 days. 3 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Which, yes, it does mean I have to stay up late on Saturday, but it's better, right? 3 match days is better than 4 match days. More like matches in a row. That's kind of what COD's about. The 2 match days on Thursday, Friday were like, especially if it was like Florida, LAG, and then Paris, London. Like,
Yeah.
please get me out. So, thankfully, we're moving away from that. There are only 4 majors, but as we've kind of said, the Kickoff Classic is probably a championship. 4 majors. The Pro-Am Classic is definitely a championship. 12 teams there, plus the 4 best amateur teams from all regions in the mid-season, plus champs. So frankly, I think that the COD is slightly more condensed this year, but I think it should be better the way it's structured and some more intense games. And yes, there might be technically less majors, but there's, if anything, probably more proper tournaments. And there's also a mid-season in April sometime. And my kind of thought on that, I'll throw it to you, Austin, here, is kind of like, okay, you've got all this stuff. I know that the players were probably, you've said it quite a lot, the players barely got any break last year. Like, I guess that's good for the players and probably maybe listen to some feedback there. But also I was thinking, okay, mid-season, that's kind of a perfect time for like effectively to have a roster change period, because stage 1, if say after Major 1 you played badly, maybe you bring in a substitute. After Major 2, that's kind of when, all right, like it's already April, this is when we need to start making some serious moves. So maybe that kind of mid-season in April is where leading up to the Pro-Am Classic, a lot of teams make changes if they need to. So I think it's quite exciting on the whole, I think.
I like the season format. I just wish we had like 1 or 2 just standalone tournaments, just like the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Like I feel like right now with the preseason, you have 7, so you have the 4 majors, the Pro-Am, the kickoff, and then champs. So that's 7. Ideally, I would want probably like 9 to 10 tournaments a year, especially if we're doing like only 8 months like this. So yeah, I mean, I like it for what it is. Obviously, the mid-season event where we're gonna have all that. That's a nice break for the players. That's where you'll have your first roster change period. I think there's actually a second one that I haven't seen really talked about either. Is after the Pro-Am and after Major 3, there's like a 2.5 week break, and I think that's for like obviously like a gap for the players to have another break. But like that's gonna be a pretty crazy final roster change period because all you have after that is stage 4 and champs. So like that's gonna be another spicy one too. So I do hope like everyone stays engaged for the whole season. I hope it's a good season. One thing about the Optic major is that's gonna be their first tournament they've had ever in franchising now.
I think so. They'd never had a Chicago one.
Like
Yeah.
they had a Chicago one, it was online.
It
So
was
like
online, yeah.
I'm actually pretty hyped for this because I know this is probably going to be the best crowd we've had in the U.S. in for about for as long as I can remember. So like I know the Anaheim ones were good. Yeah, the Anaheim ones were always good, but this one's going to be pretty crazy. I'm actually really excited for it. So obviously, I'm always rooting for the CDL to do good, even if I don't agree with everything. I still hope it hits. So I hope everyone likes all these lands because it's gonna be 7 lands this year. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think I like this a lot. At first with the 8 teams, I was thinking this was going to be a terrible season, but with 12 now it's good. I think it would be a perfect format if we had a kickoff event right after the game came out, and then still had this preseason event before the season, and then the 4 stages Pro-Am champs. Um, but when we look back to like last year, around stage 5, we were getting really sick of the league matches, I feel. And it was just kind of going on and on and on, being repetitive. And so I think the one less stage is actually a really good call for the league. And then implementing the Pro-Am and all that, I think it looks pretty good.
Just add another standalone tournament though. That's my thing. Like if you're gonna, because like I agree with you. Yeah, just add something at the start. Like ideally, you want something probably in December. You can have this kickoff in January. Have a stage 1 in March. Stage 2 in April. Pro-Am in like May, and then screw the league matches from there. Just do standalone tournaments like a stage 4, stage 5, just tournament. Hopefully with 16 teams. Throw in 4 AMs in there, and then a champs. And then what would be a cherry on the top is a nice World Cup right before the next game comes out, because then you can get everyone excited for the new season. I know that's probably asking too much, but like a
But is it?
16, I mean,
No,
you got to
not
score the little
really.
things first. A December tournament, like that's the priority.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
You know, yeah. I said a couple of minutes ago we don't ask too much, but you know, we'll see.
Let's start with a December tournament, and then we can go from there.
I feel like we're gonna see how sick it's gonna be to have AM teams again playing against pro teams, and then it's gonna become a more regular thing. And this is gonna
I
like
hope so.
break the barrier. It's gonna break the barrier on that, and I think viewership will be higher. And yeah, I'm very hopeful for this because I've been wanting this since franchising. I've been saying it the
You've been
whole time.
asking
Everyone's been calling me
They
crazy.
listen to your line.
every year, man.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll
I'm actually
see.
really impressed they did it, and it's interesting. In a couple of the interviews we did, there was kind of some. Maybe it wasn't even in the interviews, but in some other clips I've seen of players, there's been some talk about which event are players most looking forward to, and the one that they'll gravitate towards is not champs. It's actually the Pro-Am Classic. Like they're really Slasher, especially said he's really hyped to get back to that kind of like open tournament feel, even if it's not a proper open tourney. Just kind of that vibe in the venue is something that I think a lot of the players have been missing, and I think we will continue to go down that route. So it's nice to see some positive changes. I just agree that like if there was just one more standalone tourney, I think the season would look a lot more fleshed out towards the end. Obviously, right now it's not the case, but still, I think things should improve, and we'll take that. We'll take that. Do you want to talk a Sniper GA then? Because we kind of skipped it because it's a negative topic. We've got to talk about it because it's probably the biggest news of the week. All right. I'll try and break this down quickly enough. The pros behind the scenes thought, okay, snipers, when they started practicing search and destroy, were too overpowered, as they were last year. Apparently, even though last year maybe they were a bit too strong. This year, they didn't seem so good, but aim assist is still a thing. Envoy apparently instigated the vote. He said, hey, look, we're going to do some votes on this. All 12 teams voted in favor, but some teams say that by the time they even got to the chat to vote, it was already 9-0, therefore they didn't have anything they could actually do about it. Some people say that no smokes equals no snipers. There's currently a one-way issue with the smokes that's actually intended in the game, where if one person's close to a smoke, you can't see them too well for longer ranges, therefore this is an abusable bug. Some people don't use it, some people do use it. It seems it's going to be tough to tell whether that's unintentional or not. Therefore, pros think, okay, should we get rid of the smokes? If they do, there's no counter to the snipers. Snipers have to go. At the end of the day, things have a serious backlash because the community goes absolutely rogue. The pros are saying, look, we're just trying to do our best to make the game playable. But the fans are saying, well, look, the game is awful. You should be doing your best to make it watchable because, look, at the end of the day, this is an attention economy. If you don't have anyone watching, you die. So that's life. The pros eventually backtrack. Slasher says they're all soft effectively, or he didn't say they were all soft, but says, that they backed down, they folded to the pressure, which indeed was in fact the case. And for the Kickoff Classic, there will be smokes and snipers in action, it does seem. So the community's won. Congratulations. Very crazy situation. I don't know what your take on this is, Austin, because, of course, I guess you've seen them in action. I think a lot of the frustration from the fan side is we haven't even seen snipers used in a competitive setting because the S&D streams are off, they're off stream. So we don't see if snipers are good or not. We can't tell if they're overpowered. And the pros just say that they've got to go, whereas literally everyone in the entire COD scene, apart from the pros, want them in, which surely carries some weight, even if we don't play the game as much as the pros do. That's kind of... I usually don't mind GAs. I got kind of frustrated about this one. I'm not going to lie.
So I'll break it into two parts. I'll do the first one, and then I'll let you go line, and then I'll cap it off with like how I think it should be fixed. Like at first, like okay, so like smokes are wonky in this game. I don't like how they are. I don't like that at all. We had the same issue last year. I don't know why we had the same smokes again. It kind of sucks, but got to make the most of it. The snipers have aim assist again, so it's like at least it has flinch, but it has aim assist again, which kind of sucks because with two things that aren't perfect now you're entering into this really hazy area. Um, the problem with snipers. So I just saw this again. Why is there no attachments on them? The way snipers are used in competitive is not how you use them in a pub match. Like you're not running around quick scoping people. So like play a pub, you need all the strong attachments because you're quick scoping, you're agile, right? In a competitive match, you are not moving. You are scoped down on a lane, holding down that scope, and as soon as you see someone, you pull the trigger, right? That takes 0 attachments. That just takes a sniper scope and a sniper. So that's why that doesn't work. So like again, I actually disagreed with my team. Like they thought I was kind of crazy, but I actually like snipers in the game. I like watching them as a viewer. I understand playing against them is horrible in right now, especially. I understand that completely. It's kind of like it's just it's an impossible place for the players to be in because when the players are making the rule set, they should not be thinking about fans. They should be thinking about how to make the game the most competitive as it possibly can. That should be their job. The job of the league should make the viewership and the viewing experience for the fans as best as it can be, and have that and take the players' advice for the rule set. The problem is that's so disconnected. You get rules and you get GAs, and like that's just not ever going to work out good because the players should always be looking at how to make the game as competitive as possible. And it's just such a interesting area. But like, did you get a chance to get into this Lion and Rab? Like, what did you guys think about it when you first saw it?
I think it's good for the kickoff to have it because then if it's really, really bad and obvious that it shouldn't be in the game, then they'll remove it for the league. And that's okay until it gets fixed. But I want to see them in the game. I think that's pretty obvious. The plays you can make with snipers and the plays that you can make with smokes. Like smokes and SND, you can like completely you can make it mixy, you can get the bomb sites, you can really like cut off lines of sight. Like it's really important for SND. Like it proves in games like Valorant and CSGO, it's almost the main way to push a site is to smoke it, push through, and then, you know. So I
Mhm.
think it's good to have it in the game, but if it's not working for the Kickoff Classic, we shouldn't have it during the season until it's optimized.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I agree, certainly. I do kind of feel bad for the players in a way because the pressure to deal with all this stuff shouldn't necessarily be on them. Like, the pressure is on the players to do so much because not only do they have to make all this content, right, to carry the league, because the league won't do it themselves, but they've also got to deal with, okay, we've got to make the game competitive, but at the same time, we've got to be the ones to also appease the fans to a degree. So it's a tough balance to find because as you say, Austin, in an ideal world, the players say, look, this is what's best for competitive gameplay. And I'm sure they want snipers in if they were reasonably balanced. And then the CDL would say, hey, devs, we need this fixed in the CDL rules, this fixed in the CDL rules. Can you just take off aim assist on snipers in CDL rules? Someone goes into the settings, they turn it around within 48 hours, and we're good to go. Fantastic stuff. Obviously, it doesn't work like that in reality. But of course, given the fact that that communication is not the case with the developers, then the alternative, I guess, is what do you do if, like, let me think how to phrase this. Like, what does the CDL do if the fans all wanted in, all the content creators, everyone around the league wants snipers in, but the pros don't? Like, I know a lot of pros were saying, and people were saying, well, look, the fans don't play the game every day, which is fair enough. But at the same time, if the fans don't watch COD, then you don't have a league. And we don't know what the stats are on, like, you know, if snipers are in, snipers are out, does the viewership go down? Like, we don't have the stats to say that, but it's just you kind of want to create a feeling around your league of excitement and that people are kind of getting what they hope to get. And if you create a situation where that's not the case, for example, Maven and Merk not being there, snipers being out, all of a sudden you alienate your audience, and that just can't be a good thing, even if the statistics, whatever Aches was talking about, aren't, you don't necessarily know what they are. So I don't know, like, could the CDL ever step in on an issue like this and say, hey, look, all the fans, like 99% want snipers in, the pros want them out, like, we've got to deal with this somehow. And I don't know. I wonder if they would ever step in, because if you get rid of an AK-47 or an XM4 like last year, doesn't really affect all that much. Fans get annoyed about it, but at the end of the day, the game's still the same. Snipers are a major impact, and there's so many, some like the most memorable S&D clips of all time are sniper clips. And how many memorable clips were there really from Cold War and Search and Destroy? Like, I'm not thinking of that many, to be honest. It was
Yeah.
Cammy's one.
Yeah.
So
Cammy.
like that brings me to like my second point, which is right now the way it's done is obviously in a Twitter DM. Like that's been very really public. Obviously that should be changed. One thing that like I've said is like, look, we have a coaches call every like Wednesday to schedule practice for that week. Why not say like if we want to potentially GA something, say I want to bring this up to a vote on that Wednesday, one player and one coach from each team comes in, they have a discussion about it. Because like from my point of view, like okay, like the sniper, like Envoy said he wanted to do snipers GA, right? So when we're in a call, like what makes a sniper so powerful in scrims, and then we can talk about it, have it back and forth. One of the things that makes those snipers so powerful is you have such a strong secondary right now. So why not try no attachments on your pistol, no attachments on your sniper? See how that works in practice for the next week. Then in the next week, if it's still a discussion, then if it's still a problem, that's how we can have we can have another discussion whether or not to get it out then. And like maybe like the snipers can't have fortified on. Like maybe that's a fix. No attachments on your pistol, no fortified on, right? So then we try to fix the issues with the sniper without banning it. Like that, I think that's a possible fix. I wish that was talked about a little bit more, but like obviously, like again, like I have watched the game, I have seen some questionable stuff with snipers. Like the worst sniper in the league right now and the best sniper in the league, like there's not that much of a difference right now because it's just there. I don't. It's just in a very weird state. But at the same time, as a viewer, I love snipers. I love them. I love watching it. I love the plays. So like I want it in as well. So I mean, look, the players are just doing what they thought best for the competitive. It shouldn't be their job to make the game the best viewing experience. That's what the league should be there too. So it should go hand in hand. Like the players are trying to do their best right now with the game they have, and it's just very difficult. They're trying their best, but like again, sometimes what their interests are not aligned with what the fans' interests are, and that's where the league needs to be more proactive with it and like listening to the players, listening to the fans, and making a mix of that, having a back and forth discussion with the players to see what is best. And that's not done in a Twitter DM. That's done in an open discussion. That's done with teams voting, but also like the league having the final say and stuff, but also taking into consideration what the players are telling them. So like yeah, there's ways to improve it. Like you can't fault the players because they're trying their best. You just gotta find ways to improve the current way of doing things.
Any thoughts, Lion?
No.
Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful.
So I think it's probably about time as we round things down. Actually, one final thing I did want to mention. There was a couple of other topics, but I guess we've got to talk about this. Really, it was a big topic that happened this week. Parasite retiring from Call of Duty. This was a pretty probably something that's been coming for a little bit of time at this point. I mean, it's always difficult for some of these OG players, right? At some point, the motivation is going to disappear, and frankly, the quality of the games the last couple of years hasn't helped really. And it's just, but even if this year's game was good, would Parasite still be around? I mean, there's been a lot where I'll throw it to you, Line, here in a second. The last couple of years, he's been doing his best in the amateur side with these players that he picks up, and they often go on to great successes above and beyond what he achieves, and maybe because of his name and stuff like this, he doesn't maybe get an opportunity that his talent might deserve. He got a chance on London, right? Didn't really work out for him. He didn't really get the captain's seat in terms of deciding how the roster was going to go. And then this year, he just really feels like he didn't enjoy practicing anymore, didn't enjoy grinding every day. So he's going to take his career to an end after many championship victories back in the day. Of course, 2013 world champion, the first ever one. 7 championship victories. I was thinking it was something like that. So Lion knows it off the top of his head. And move into something else. I guess we'll see what that might be, Lion.
Yeah, I feel like he would still be in the league if there was an opportunity for challengers players to make it. Like it's been since the league started, it's been almost I wouldn't say pointless, but semi-pointless for players, especially of like his notoriety, to even stick around the scene because one, young talent is getting all the opportunities, and he hasn't had a real opportunity in the league, like genuinely with a team that was decent since probably 2016, like complexity champs. So 2017 was like the Ghost Gaming era. 2018 was the Ground Zero era. The 2019 was the
Yeah.
Midnight era. Remember when they removed the whole Midnight roster and then brought in
Yeah.
whatever? And then 2020, and since then he's just been kind of dwelling in challenges, and he's been playing well, but then he gets given a chance on London, didn't prove himself because one, that team wasn't very good to start with, and then now he's stuck in challenges, and it's like he had these really average opportunities his whole career since he had this notoriety around 2015, 14, and he never really got the real chance again. And I feel that's pretty unfortunate because in challenges he was one of the most successful players for the last like 3 years. But he's just not going to get that like top team chance that he might have deserved if he was a little bit more viewer slash relationship friendly.
I mean, that's it though. There is like like politics as well. Like, you got to be able to work with people, want people to work with you. Like, obviously, he's had. I still think he deserved a roster. He's had a tremendous career. Um, I feel like he's just an amazing player, especially at the early parts of his career. I always remember watching him on Ghosts on the first Las Vegas. I always loved him as a player. Personally, I don't know if he would be a great coach. I think he would be great on the analyst desk. I think he's really knowledgeable, and I think he has like that like sharp personality that like works for the analyst desk. I think he would be phenomenal. I think he would
He's
be one of the
funny.
best pickers.
He's really funny on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that works because like like personally, I think like coaching is like 75% managing personalities and like conflict resolution. I feel like that's like a huge part of the job of coaching, which I really don't know if that's his strong suit or not. But obviously I know he's super knowledgeable. I know he's super like charismatic. He has a personality. I think plug him into the analyst desk and that's like that's him nameless. Get like one more like get one more like ex pro that's like really knowledgeable. Like who's retired the last couple of years? Um,
Cap,
Cap or Aches. I think
Yeah, Aches would be a good
Slacked
one.
Slacked even would be a good one. Like I feel like you start plugging in some of these guys that already have chemistry with each other, and
yeah,
the desk will be really good because all those guys obviously are friends. They're ex pros. They have personalities. Like again, those are checks off the box for what the CDL should be collecting. Like they should be collecting those guys like Infinity Stones, man. Just keep
yeah.
collecting them and just get as many as you can because
Yeah, keep them
like
around the scene. Like
yeah,
when you see Nate Shot when he comes back into the league, he brings those viewers with him as well. And it's like these guys have fans that followed them for like 10 years. Like Parasite was in the league in like, well, I guess 2013 was when he made his
Mm.
breakthrough, but like that's 9 years of him being like involved in the scene and having people know him. And that's like you need to keep that within the league.
I just
Yeah,
don't
such
want
a good point.
you
Just
just don't want
because,
to
like,
lose
yeah, go on.
personalities to like Warzone.
Mm.
You don't want to lose personalities
Yeah.
outside the scene. Keep them in as much as you can. Sorry.
That's the thing. Other sports, like all the great players. I mean, if I turn on football on ITV or something, I'll just see Thierry Henry's there. Like, so
Mm.
absolutely fantastic. I get to hear this guy's insight, legend of the game, and that's the thing. What I don't want really is a guy like Parasite. He featured on a fair few thumbnails, right? He's a great character. People are interested in what he has to say. If he says something controversial or something, people will be interested. But you're not going to get that if he's dipped. So
Yeah.
that's the issue. And I think, to be fair, Aches was kind of the final one I had on this point because
Mm.
Aches also signed a contract a couple of days ago. He did a contract give at the same time. He's been saying, in addition to coming on the flank, he's also got a next step lined up. I don't know what that is, but as you say, it would make so much more sense if there was a proper analyst desk with, like, Aches. I mean, Study and Nameless already would have great chemistry there already. Like Parasite is kind of like analytical commentary. Like there's so much good stuff you could do with some of these old school guys, and there's so much great content you can make. Right, people would love to see a video on the CDL official channel with Aches and Parasite debating the state of the current teams and, like, which team, like hot takes about current stuff, like that stuff would blow up, and I'd love to talk about it as well on the channel, but it just doesn't exist because these guys who are great personalities just get left to drift off into the sunset. But I mean, I agree. He'd be a perfect guy to bring on. I just hope that they do some of this stuff. I'm excited to see what happens with Aches, really, because if he does go to the CDL, that shows, that shows some promise from their perspective, I think.
Yeah. I
Both
think
of those
it's
guys.
just really important for like former players, like in the NBA, they have like Shaq, who's on like NBA Inside and all that. And it's like it's really important to have these players who've been through all of it, who you can actually listen to and like they can break it down for you exactly how it went. And it's just yeah, we're missing that somewhat on the analyst desk. But,
What's that?
yeah,
The NBA Today, an NBA show with ex players. Oh yeah, that show. Yeah, imagine that in the CDL. That would do well, wouldn't it? Or
yes,
if the CDL, did content series where they looked at those guys' careers, or if they did interviews with them,
yeah,
like this is get these guys. These guys are content gold. I like
yeah.
watching Parasite and Aches and like Doug. Put
Oh
those three
man,
on a put those three on a show and just let me listen to them argue and just say delusional statements to themselves.
it'd be
like
so good, man. It would be so good. Oh my god.
like oh my god, like the viewers are out there. Like yeah, I just saw
Yeah.
like the Optic podcast does like 80K views. Like the viewers are
No,
out there.
100 every time.
Yeah, just you got to put the work in to get those viewers to check out your stuff.
Yeah.
It's as
That's
simple as that.
what we've proven though, I think, with Breaking Point in the last few like couple weeks is that you can make a video, find the algorithm, and it'll get like over 100K views, and it's about cheaters in COD. And it's like you can find those niche things within this space that can still get a lot of views. And it's like that's not being
Exactly.
taken advantage of. And I think the league looks at this like mundane level of creating content, sees how it gets like 2K views, and then doesn't try. But in reality, if you really put yourself out there and then find these good ideas, you can still get heaps of views in the COD scene.
That's why like shout out like New York. They're trying really hard to make content. Toronto has like a terrific TikTok channel. Like our team Atlanta has the best Instagram channel, like stats wise in the league. LA Gorillas have been like really trying to pump out content. Like
Mhm.
even though they didn't get as strong views, like you said, Rab, like those guys keep trying and like they keep growing. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Same thing with like Minnesota's always put in a ton of effort. Like a lot of these teams, like they're trying. They're actually trying, and I love it. Just keep going, and like if the league starts doing more stuff too, like high tides raise all boats. Is that a saying? I think that's a
Rising
saying,
tide
right?
raises all ships. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Like if everyone's putting in all the work and everyone's trying their best, even though like stuff might not come right away. You might get like 50 views per video. Like if you keep pumping that out though, everyone's worried about the shit talk and the personalities going away. But in reality, we have so many unknown personalities in the league right now that this fans just don't know. Like you could have the next Parasite, like and Killa of like shit talking and getting in people's heads. You just don't know them because we haven't had a lot of content the last 2 years with like newer players. Like a lot of these players are actually hilarious. You don't get to see that on the day-to-day basis and get attached to them. Like that's just something that needs to improve, and people won't be as concerned about losing all the older players because there's a lot of just really funny and really just a lot of like just good guys that once you get to know them, like fans will definitely latch onto them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's like, I hadn't really thought about it like that before, but it's a great point where we've been saying for quite a few years, oh, when the big personalities retire, it's going to be a major L, which it is if those personalities just completely become adrift from the CDL. But it doesn't have to be the case, right? Like you bring Krim on as kind of an analyst or something, or just you bring him on from time to time after he retires. All the guys who could do this, and it would just make a load of sense to bring him on for one evening of qualification matches or something. Just get Krim's opinion, like just keep him around the scene. And it just makes way more sense to do that. So I don't
Think
know.
about it though.
We'll see.
Like Awakening did like one interview last year, and he like called someone out. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's the
yeah.
only time we've ever heard him at an interview, and he just starts shit talking. I love that. You have guys like Vivid. Like Vivid's been in the league now for like what, 2 years, 3 years? He's been around for a while, but do people really know him? Like Standy, like Toronto, like all those guys are really cool, but like how much do fans really know them on a personal level? You got Sib and Pred coming in now for Seattle.
I mentioned them.
Sib talks his shit. I love it. He's really confident. Fans will get to know him, and whether or not you like him or dislike him, like people will like to latch on to people like that when they're on their team. Like that's something
Yeah.
from traditional sports. Like you love him when you're on your team, you hate him when he's off. Like I love that personality. Like Pred, I don't know anything about him. I would love to learn about him though. Like you can go to literally every single team and they have guys like that. Like Draza.
Yeah.
Draza seems like a great guy. I want to know more about him. That's why I watch like like LA Thieves content because he seems like a great. He's got that personality. He fits right in with like Kenny and Envoy or Kenny and Octane. Like personalities are there. Just showcase them.
Yeah, it would be cool to go to like events, take your car and do like a couple karaoke with like a whole
Mine's
bunch
got
of
mad
players.
laggy for me. I don't know if it's just me.
Did you hear what I said? Did you hear
Kinda.
me?
I think you're back. I think
Oh,
you're
you're
back.
good. You're good.
You said something about
Right, I
karaoke.
said we should go. We should go to an event and then bring a car, right? Do a carpool karaoke with like 3 or 4 players, but not the karaoke. It's just like a condensed podcast that's like highlights, and you get to know the players on like a
I like
different
that.
level. But
Easiest
yeah.
fix CDL can do tomorrow: press conferences. I want to hear what these guys have to say after they win or lose. Because that gives them the chance, if they want to shit talk, gives them the chance to. It gives them a chance to
Yeah.
reflect on how they did. It gives them a chance to say, like, to show you whether or not they are putting, like, talk, like, do they know the game? Because, like, sometimes you'll get an NFL, like, post game thing, and they're just like, on the 76th play, I was doing a post route, the defender had a cover 2, and he just starts spewing shit. And you're just like, okay, that guy's really smart. And, like, that's how you get to know people. Or you guys get people like Conor McGregor who goes into a post game thing and is just spewing shit. And like I
Yeah.
love that. Like that's you got to give the players a chance to show the fans who they are. And that's something obviously like
Mm.
COVID, as Dabs has said, like COVID affects that doesn't give them a chance to do that. But the best advice I could give the CDL is to put players and teams in as many positions as you can to showcase their personalities, because that's how you're going to get more and more fans to latch on to them. Because it's like the best kept secret is like there are so many like really funny people, so many people that just are really like knowledgeable about the game. There's so many people that just want to be able to talk but just don't have the platform, and like that's give them that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we've had some great discussion today. Hopefully, they're listening. To finish out the episode, we're going to do some predictions for the Kickoff Classic. So I think the way we should do this is just run through the matches and just give relatively brief predictions between the three of us. And then I guess if it's a 2-1 split, then we just kind of move on and see how the bracket looks. So let's begin. I don't know if you could bring up the bracket, Omar, on stream. If you guys have the bracket in front of you, I put it somewhere earlier up in the chat as well. But we'll start with the Friday, because Friday is the first round games, then Saturday is the second round games, then Sunday is the semis and the final. So, okay, we begin with Surge Ravens. I'm super excited for this series. Some people were saying in the interviews that they have both these teams in their top 5, which is quite incredible. But Temp said that he reckons Surge and London are top 5. I'm pretty sure that Kleenex said the same thing. Most people, though, right now have Surge as pretty much the number 4 team in the game. I was remarkably impressed by how they were in the coach power rankings that you helped put out, Austin. So yeah, I think that probably Surge should win this. I don't think we should do... You guys can do map counts if you want, but there's just so many variables that go into this. I think that'd be a tough one.
Yeah. So what do you think, Lion? I'll let you go first. You got Seattle or London or
Seattle. Are we actually going through every single game?
I mean, we can do it very briefly if you want. I don't think we need to give much explanations.
Can I just give you my prediction for top 4?
Okay, we could do it like
Because
that, to be fair. It might be too long otherwise.
it might take like half an hour.
Yeah, we've gone quite a long way.
I think because are we doing like third, fourth, or is it top 4? So it's like third and
It'll be.
fourth.
I don't think there's a playoff. I think it's just.
there's there's just first, second, and then like top 4 because the semifinals it's single limb.
Top 4. Okay. So my third and fourth are going to be. Hold on. I'm looking at the bracket. I think Optic and Boston.
In the final?
And then no. Top 4.
Lose in the semis.
Yeah. And then I think the final's gonna be FaZe and Ultra again.
Oh, imagine. That could well happen.
Who do you got
All
winning?
right.
Oh, winning. Oh, FaZe. Come on.
Damn.
Okay.
Okay. That's a
What do you
surprise
got,
because
Rab?
I'm
Yeah,
far away. I mean, because interesting. Like, Lion just goes straight off a phase with the W, you know, because I got to go something different. Okay. I mean, so I think FaZe beats whoever come out of the top side. I honestly am not sure who wins out of Boston and New York. I think that's a really interesting series. I think I probably would favor Boston slightly right now, and if they win that, I might take them over Rocker as well. I kind of want to see a FaZe Boston. I agree with Lion. FaZe Boston semis, FaZe win, Boston top 4. On the lower side, Optic beat. I don't even know between LA Thieves and Paris, but I guess LA Thieves will win. Optic beat Thieves, Ultra beat LAG, let's just say. And then I'm going to say that Optic. So I've actually got the same top 4 as Lion. And then I'm going to say that Optic beat Ultra. And then I'm going to say that Optic win the Grand Finals 3-2. I want to see a new champion, Optic Texas, win in their home state. And the crowd goes wild, the community's on fire, the timeline's popping, content's hitting off, and we have a good start to the season. By
That'd
the
be
way
like-
it works is fine.
That'd be so
Yeah.
ideal.
I
That's
really
my hot take.
so what I have is mine's tough because like I really wish we weren't facing Seattle or London because like in my opinion right now Seattle's number 3. Like I feel like it's us in Texas and like Seattle has like really impressed me. But the problem is I really don't know how other teams are looking at S&D right now. It's really tough. But you know, obviously I'll go like the first semifinal would be like us, and I really think it would probably be Boston. And obviously I would have us moving on to the finals, and then the bottom one, I would have Optic, and then Toronto, and I would have Optic coming out of that one too. So the two third fourth would be Boston and Toronto, and then in the finals, like obviously I'm gonna take my guys, but I'm actually like really excited because it'll be like Optic with their home crowd, and then like we're pretty
Who was
much
our own
like
crowd?
yeah, we're pretty much like the real like villain to like that team, and like the because like obviously if you're a home crowd, you want to beat the best team, and right now like I think the majority of people have us as the best team, whether or not it's like 1A 1B right now until like you prove it, but I'm just pumped because I just know that crowd's gonna be wild, and like that's gonna be like pretty awesome. So
Mm.
I'm just excited. Like obviously,
All have
like
the same top 4.
yeah. Well, it's really
We
hard
did,
because like Optic faces LA and Paris, and like I feel like everyone's always gonna have Optic in that scenario. And then like Florida and LAG, I don't think they're gonna take down Toronto. Maybe that would have to be your hot take. The only other place where it really switches up is whether you have Minnesota, New York, or Boston.
I think any of those three like is a decent call,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And honestly, like it's such those ones they're so close to each other. Again, I don't know everyone's S&D, but I know like Hardpoint, and I think like New York's definitely the best Hardpoint team out of those, or Boston's the best Hardpoint out of those 3 right now. So like, who knows though? Because like Control too, but Control is a little bit more Slayer heavy right now, so like that tends to be more closely to Hardpoint than S&D kind of like strategy. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
we all
I mean,
kind of agree.
makes a good point. Just the way the bracket's set up with like the buys and the way it works, it just makes it, it's difficult to have too many different scenarios. Whether for the majors, things are going to get crazy because you've got round, seed 1
Yeah.
plays seed 8, so you just one upset and a top team's in loses round 1, and things are going crazy, right? So,
I just love that we have a tournament. No
It's
show
exciting, isn't it?
matches, no just random like 2 matches. Like just remember Modern Warfare Year 1, we had 2 random matches that were handpicked for CDL points, right?
Yeah, you got 10
they
points
said,
for a win.
I said, okay, that's not great. We hear you. We'll do 1 match where it means nothing, and we're just like, what? No, come
Yeah,
on now. Now we get a bracket. I don't know about you guys, but minor victory. I'll take the improvement.
I
I'm
like
just
it a lot.
happy.
Like,
Yeah.
I also like that it's single limb. Just
I
because
There's
do
it's
honestly not much I'd change for this. Like for a 3-day
preseason.
weekend, for a preseason tournament, like I don't really think there's anything wrong with having it single elim. I think if anything, it's it's better because it makes it just prioritizes the top matchups,
higher stakes.
Like,
everyone would like double limb for like a tournament, but like, look, it's a preseason. They want it to be kind of quick. They kind of want it to like showcase the teams though, and like have it do or die. Now
exactly,
next
yeah.
year, if you're gonna keep improving, have one of these in December and January, and then start the season, or do November and December and start in January, and then we
Wow.
can
Mm-hmm.
really
Now
start
we're
cooking.
talking, Austin. Woo!
Mm.
Bring him in.
Show us that
Okay.
improvement for 4 years in a row.
Yeah, we'll take that. Wow. Okay, cracking stuff, guys. Thanks all for joining us live in the chat and also on the audio platforms. Drop us a Twitch Prime sub on Twitch if you're here. I mean, if you don't have one, it's okay. You can wait till next month. And yeah, YouTube. I mean, the YouTube's been popping off on the main stage lately. It was probably end of last year. I don't know if we had 5K subs yet. So Omar, Dabs, the boys, we've been killing it. Exciting stuff. Oh yeah, fantasy. Good reminder, Charlie. If you guys are still listening to this one and you haven't yet entered your fantasy team, get down to breakingpoint.gg/fantasy and get effectively it's a draft royale style like draft buff was last year on the website. Be careful to follow the rules because the website might let you break them because things are a little bit buggy right now. But get in there, have a good time. We'll keep improving it through the season. And as we talked about today, a lot of things that we think the CDL can improve, which is good, right? Because if the CDL can improve, then we already have the best community and fan base in esports, and it just takes a bit of pushing in the right direction, and we can really get rolling again. We're trying our best. So if everyone tries their best as well, then Call of Duty will be moving onwards and upwards. Final thoughts, lads, before we leave. Been a long episode.
Wait, did you do your fantasy? Did you pick 4 players?
I haven't actually done it yet. Oh no, I did. I did. Let me. Who did I pick? I picked. I got someone I thought was cheap. I think I got Pred because he was like $4, and then I got someone for like 7. I might have got Afro. I think I got Pred and Afro. Actually, no, that would have been stupid because they're playing each other. I don't think I got Pred, Kenny, someone else, Capsidel, and Simp. I think that's what I went for. Which Simp may be slightly overpriced, but I thought you can't go wrong with picking Simp. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Simp, Kenny, Cap, and Pred. The only thing I was worried is that Pred might well play Simp in the round 2, but I thought, whatever, we're just going to run with it.
I went with Simp, Afro, Sib, and Fellow.
Not
even
too dissimilar.
Yeah. You have to try it out, Lion, when you get a chance, but
I will for sure.
yeah.
So
I just saw this. It is email and Twitter, I believe. I don't know if you can dodge the Twitter username. It's just because when we find a winner, we want to be able to reach out to them. If you don't have a Twitter, maybe
You probably just put any odd thing in, and we can get
just
in
put
contact with you
anything
by
as long as
email.
you have an active email. Then we can at least reach out to you from your email, because that's how we're going to be able to reach out to people once we know they won or not.
Yeah, exactly.
We're definitely going to be working. Like, shout out Spoons, by the way, for being able to put that together so quickly on the website. Brandon and Dabs, and I mean, I did literally probably the bare minimum on the scoring side, but those 3 guys, they did a lot getting this up and running within like a week. So we're going to be trying to get like the way we have their stats, like the same way we have them on there. We're gonna try to have a fantasy like leaderboard kind of thing, so you can try to track your players as they go along. And I might try to do something as well on the public side for you guys. So we'll try to make it the best possible experience for 1 week worth of just randomness that we kind of put together.
Yeah.
But it'll definitely get better probably towards the tail end of the season, because we did have stuff planned anyway. So we'll get better and better as it goes. So
Beautiful stuff. Damn, 3K signups already? Come on, the boys. Okay, good job. Thanks, everyone. Thanks all for watching. Thanks, Austin and Lion, for joining me. Been a pleasure as always. We'll be back next week to break down the results of a Call of Duty tournament, ladies and gentlemen. A COD tournament is happening in 2 days' time.
haven't done that in like 20 weeks, man. I am ready.
Can you imagine it?
I am ready.
Beautiful. Thanks all. Take care. We'll see you next time.